Spider-Man, thank you for coming. I'm looking for my grandpa Earl. He kept talking about meeting someone here, and now he's gone, and can you please help me find him?
Any clues on where he might be?
Just this picture. He was
Prototype
staring
was a
at
game
it
that
all
I
morning.
absolutely loved playing when I was a kid, and that was mainly due to having the ability to just mindlessly slaughter anyone I wanted with a plethora of powers to choose from that all takes place in a big open world of Manhattan. To me, that was so much fun. Well, today I do still like to occasionally do those things, however, I am more of a completionist in case you couldn't tell, and this game has been one that I have wanted to obtain the platinum trophy for some time now. Starting this, I thought it would have been easy. Going from my memories as a kid, it wasn't that difficult of a game, but let me tell you right now, I could not have been more wrong. Like, clearly, I must have been like on crack or something. This was so difficult. And I can certainly say this has to be one of the harder platinum trophies that I have gone for, and I've gone for a few difficult ones. It's stressful, it pisses you off, and sometimes it'll even make you cry. If you're playing this on easy, I can't lie, it's a breeze. For a normal playthrough, it's relatively okay, a couple of hard points here and there, but it's not terrible. But boy oh boy, hard mode is hard, man. I sat there for 2.5 hours on a single boss fight, and I couldn't quit it. I had no option but to beat the boss. That, or I have to start all over again and invest in some more powers, and for me, that was not an option, but we will get into all of my heartache and pain later on in the video. Now, for any of you guys that are wondering, PSN Profiles rates this a difficulty of an 8 out of 10, with it taking a minimum of 3 playthroughs, although it can be done in 2 if you're just that good, with about 45 hours to completion, which is about right as it took me 43. Now, to platinum this game, I broke it down into a few steps to use as a guideline throughout my journey. The first step was simple: beat the game story mode on normal, enjoy myself, familiarise myself with the controls again and how the game works, hopefully unlock a few miscellaneous trophies along the way. Step 2 was to then go back through the game on Easy Plus with no deaths and without consuming any civilians for those 2 respective trophies. And then step 3, I was going to use that Easy Plus save to clean up the entire map, getting all the collectibles, platinuming all of the events, consuming all of the weather victory targets, and using this difficulty to get any of the other miscellaneous trophies that we had left, before finally moving on to our final step, which was to complete the game on hard mode, looking at our final trophy, and giving us the platinum. Anyway guys, with all of that out of the way, let's start this journey. We begin the game as Alex Mercer, a killer, trickster, a terrorist, but most importantly an absolute badass with a sick set of powers, and immediately we are thrown into combat where we get to take Alex at his most powerful for a little test drive, a prototype run, if you will. Obviously, this part of the game acts as the tutorial, and we get to learn all of the combat moves, and we also get introduced to the 2 main enemy factions of the game, the Black Hawk Soldiers and the Infected. After dealing with all of the soldiers, we are then taken back 18 days earlier when we find our dear Alex laying on a table with the Genetic Book, which, can I just say, how the hell were they planning on doing anything to a guy that's fully dressed? Like, I'm no professional in that sector, but I'm sure this isn't how we find just as our main man is about to be opened up, he opens his eyes and sees the scientists running through a kill team. Alex escapes the building, but shortly gets gunned down. Realising that it's had little effect on his body, he uses that as his chance to escape. We continue to run from and take out a few Black Hawk soldiers before Alex eventually can't take any more and collapses in the alley.
Don't be so hard on
Go before a soldier finds him,
responsibility. Believe me, I know. We'll do what we can.
Although, much like a minute ago, proves absolutely futile as Alex just gets up and proceeds to slam his face into the ground before consuming his body and taking out the soldier's appearance. We then do the same thing where Alex discovers that through consuming his enemy's
Whatever you think I did, I did.
everything they know, he now knows. This granddaughter asked me to find out that his sister Dana was being held nearby. We make our way over to her apartment.
I'll be back in a minute.
Getting there, we find her block swarming with postal soldiers, and so we use our newly obtained disguise to get into her apartment. noticed.
Wow,
Once
really?
in there, we save her from the
I
hand of
have.
a soldier, where she
How
reveals
do
to us
you
that Alex had actually asked her to
First
research
off,
Genentech,
we
and it's
had
hired
to go
personnel
to
to find out what's been going on.
Never
And
let a
after heading to
soul
a safe
love
house,
animals
suggest we
more
head to
than
our
that
own
woman.
apartment to see
I
what
I
else
was
we can
terrified.
find. We get to Alex's apartment
Meant
and
to
come across
ask
a
her,
photo of Alex
meerkat.
and a blonde-haired woman. But before he can recollect
She
who she
said
was,
they reminded
discovered
her
the
of me.
apartment was under
Like
surveillance.
my knees
Alex
went
was
knocking,
blasted
man.
out of the window.
I couldn't see straight.
Don't worry, we took care of the guys
Left
responsible.
just
He also
kept
gave us
walking.
access to the web of
Ended
up
intrigue,
here.
and from here on out we would occasionally come across targets that connected to each other
Sorry,
through this web
man.
of intrigue, and consuming these will allow us to gain further
But
knowledge of
clumsy.
the outbreak,
Nearly
ourselves,
fell
as
into
well as
that
various
pond
other
there.
things. There are also
Face
multiple
first.
trophies connected to this
You
web of
ever
intrigue,
been loved
including having us
Spider-Man?
find and consume
Yeah.
every single target.
Yeah.
Yes, and there is a hell of a lot. Some
It's
are optional and some
beautiful.
are story related, so we can't miss them. But
Nothing
we'll
more
worry about that
beautiful.
later, as now we unlock
Can
our
I
very
tell you
first
something,
trophy.
Spider-Man? I know I'm crazy, scary as hell. But I'd be ready for it. Nothing gets you ready.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, we get another trophy.
When
When I'm here,
It's
it's
like
like she is too.
We
Like
return to
I'm
Dana, where she
living it
tells us that she's
all
found
over
our
again.
laptop and she's been snooping
Oh,
around.
nervous,
Thankfully, she never
sweating,
found us in
and
her
whatnot.
but did find a photo of a
when
girl
And I
named
look
Elizabeth
into her
Green that
eyes,
was being held captive at Genentech.
it's like
Then
I'm
we begin to
home.
make our way over
I
there
was
to
so
make her a
nervous
little
that day,
visit. While making our
Spider-Man.
way there, we find out that
Almost
Blackwatch
didn't
has set
even
up a base
ask.
in Manhattan, and
It's
that
It's
like
like
Tribal
blink.
specialist Captain Cross accepts a
She's
contract
gone.
from General Randall and Colonel
sorry.
Taggart to capture Alex.
You
You said my granddaughter
We
was
eventually
looking
arrive
for
at
me.
Genentech and get to the 51st
Let's
floor.
go
Let's go
This
see
see
it.
it.
place is a mess. Bodies are everywhere, with Elizabeth Green in the center of the room.
I should
We
have
ask her
guessed
some
you'd come here.
questions in hope to get some answers.
Sorry we
However,
lost
that
track
ends
of
with
each
her
other.
slamming us up against the wall. She's
It
our
was
mother
my
and
fault
making
for
her
wandering
escape.
off.
We then get thrown out of the building by some
Spider-Man took
hunters
good
and
care
decide
of
to
me.
take them to a nearby
And
And a
military
nice
base.
chat about your grandma.
Once there, we end up
Oh, yeah?
consuming one of the hunters that were following us, and this
That's
allowed
fun.
Alex to shift his biomass,
I
giving
feel
us
like I spent
access
every
to
weekend
the
here with her, feeding the
After having some fun with my first power, we blow up the base, make our escape, and unlock our third trophy in the game. With Elizabeth Green now on the loose and with the infection accelerating rapidly, Alex is desperate to find a cure, and Dana puts us on the path of our former girlfriend, Karen Parker, who just so happened to work at Genentech with us. We get to Karen's apartment, but due to it being quarantined off due to the infection, we agree that it's best to get her out of the quarantine zone first before we focus on the infection itself. At this point, we head over to one of the military bases and consume one of the tank and NPC drivers. Doing this now gives us the ability to drive both of those ground vehicles, and we now have to use one of these to pick up Karen and take her to the safe house. After getting her to the safe house, she agrees to help us find their cure and asks us to get some genetic material from some of the infected water towers and hives around the prison. Not going to say much about this one, it was really easy and I didn't actually put a lot of effort in. However, it does introduce us to the infected water towers, and there is a trophy related to destroying 20 vital bees before they hatch. So we will be doing that as we progress through the game. But for right now, remember a second ago I said this was really easy? Well, while doing this, I actually managed to get the enhanced Juice trophy for completing the mission without a single discipline alert. We then discover that the USS Reagan is docked nearby, and Alex believes they are here with supplies and new forces to break them. We get to work on trying to track them down, and while doing so, we take this opportunity to destroy any viral detectors near Dana's safe house, as well as their new advanced UAV drones, which have a much quicker detection rate. Dana then tells us that she believes we can get to the woman if we enter one of the hives that he is going to be deployed at. We then head to one of these hives and proceed to sabotage the viral detectors around it, indicating that the area is clear, and after sabotaging all of them, we radio in for the bundle to arrive. However, as this helicopter is about to land, the infected decide they want to come out with some fresh air, causing them to abort their landing and fly away. We are then forced to make our escape and proceed to the next mission. While on our way there, I did manage to pop a couple of trophies. First was the Clean Up Trophy that killed 15 characters with a single whip fist attack. There we go, Clean Up Trophy unlocked. We killed 15 characters with a single whip fist attack. Easy. And the second was the Speed Bumps trophy for running over a total of 500 characters in a single tank. There we go, Speed Bumps trophy unlocked on over 500 characters in a single tank. We then meet back up with Karen that believes the key to finding the cure is to collect samples of the viral strands produced inside of the infected hives. She then takes a moment to tell us that she is sorry that it had to play out like this. Bit weird, but we disregard it and proceed to head to the hive. Once inside the hive, we begin collecting the material when all of a sudden Captain Cross himself rappels down into the hive and tells us to choose our friends more carefully. Yeah, that bitch that was us. It's boss fight time and it was time to deal with Cross. This fight wasn't too long overall. There's a couple of stages where he will occasionally jump out for a few minutes leaving us to deal with the infected, but eventually he does end up jumping back in with his other boys to try and take us down. As much as I would love to say he didn't have much luck with that, that wasn't the case. You know they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? Well, think again, because just by mentioning the station, Alex is brought to his knees, allowing Cross to get behind him and inject him with a cancer.
Let's see what else this thing can do.
Extremely weakened, we just about managed to make our escape and discover that we no longer have access to any of our biomass powers and are left with no choice but to continue to run.
Science, buddy.
We also unlocked the Errant Boy trophy for completing the specialist boss fight.
So, Spider-Man. You told MJ, but...
We meet back up with Dana and tell her of what we know about Elizabeth Green, as well as what happened in her hometown of Hope, Idaho. Refusing to believe us, however, we tell her that we have actually found out this information through the people that we have been consuming. Although we thought it was smart he didn't tell, she wasn't happy at the fact we were just eating people willy-nilly and told us to find Dr. Ragland and use him to help us find a cure for our cancer. On our way there, we consume an trained personnel and unlock the SME trophy for getting the ability to drive and fly vehicles.
I'm gonna make some coffee. It's gonna be a long night.
We eventually find Ragland and he tells us that he'll need access to Patient Zero and the first victims of the outbreak in order to create we proceed to consume various military personnel until we discover the location of the bodies. We then protect him while he collects some samples and eventually all of our hard work was paid off. Ragland then hands us a syringe and tells us that if we infect a hunter and then consume it, it may just be able to cure the cancerous parasite feeding on our body. At this point, we will try absolutely anything, and it wasn't long before we were back in action, this time with a...
What the hell happened here?
We were just doing some experiments.
Where's Dr. Connors?
Maybe he took the day off?
No. He doesn't take days off.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll call you later. Wait a minute. Harry's got superpowers? This is all happening so fast. Wait, what's that? Hey guys, I'm getting a strange spider box signal. You got that too? Gage, you tested something? I was just about to call you guys. A bunch of them just pinged the network out of nowhere. Using some funky wireless protocol. I'll check it out and let you know what I find. Sharp. Uploading info to the Spidey server. Got it. I'll keep an eye out for more. Send me the data when you find it. I'll try to track down the man.
Hey, long night?
Hey,
MJ.
Harry and I stayed up to test on the suit. And we may have had too much pizza. It was really nice.
Just like the good old days. So I gotta know, what's Harry's radioactive spider?
I've never seen anything like this before. It's some kind of exosuit that completely eradicates any trace of his disease.
Dr. Connors really outdid himself this time.
That's incredible. And great timing, considering what happened at the park.
Any leads on where they might have taken Tombstone?
Not yet. But if you hear anything, you're my first call.
Oh, you're the best.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, what's next? We still haven't figured out who made that weird spider bot. Come on! Just give me the crystal and I'll be on my way! Sorry guys, but I'm not leaving without that damn crystal! All right, Marco. What's going on in that head of yours?
I tell them to leave us alone, but they don't care. They shoot me with a net, but I won't get down. I will stand before it. I'm so sick. But I had no choice.
Marco had to do something. Or else he'd be just like Scorpion right now. Hey, Yuri!
I tracked the followers of Flame to an abandoned clinic in Chinatown. We go together, maybe we'll find our phone.
So you can leave them to die too?
Not unless I have to. Look, this cult needs to be stopped. You want to come along, it'd make things easier, but I don't need to.
If I went, I could keep an eye on her. Is this Jonah? Put him down. Not bad.
My best friend did this. I remember you showing me a sketch of the day before you went out. New York was nothing without his people.
Hey, Spider. Got something for you. Head to this location.
Felicia?
Hey, Felicia.
Heard some chatter about the steel foundry in Williamsburg. On the radio I swiped from those hunters. It sounds like Tombstone's there. You could use your help.
Thanks. Glad you're all right.
Did you make it to Paris in time?
Yeah, I did. Figured I owed you one. Both of you. Even if the other Spider-Man couldn't bother to make your appearance.
About
He gave the explanation. We both moved on. He's a good one, by the way.
It really is. Well, thanks for the tip. Not sure I'd be able to find Tombstone in time without you.
Yeah, thanks. Take care of yourself.
Those fashion school rejects won't think they can drop on me again. Ta-ta, spiders.
Miles, let me take this one. You're gonna miss your essay deadline.
What if
If Lee's there, I'll take care of him. Spider-Man can wait. Miles can't.
All right. Just keep in touch.
Hope Felicia's lead was right. Gotta get to Tombstone before Craven crosses him off his list too. inside? Nope. How is this going to work? Just team up like normal? How long you been tracking these guys?
Few weeks. Heard rumors for a while. Maybe bodies in your wake. They care a lot about the Crimson Hour, whatever that is.
The Hot New Club and Hell's Kitchen? Wow, that just popped out there, huh? Who says stuff like that? Not me.
They didn't see that coming.
When we find their boss, how will we know it's their boss?
Something tells me these people aren't fans of subtlety. Let's look around.
More powers and stronger than before. We also unlock the Mankind is Your Mask trophy for completing 3 missions without raising a military alert while doing this. And while making our way over to the next mission, we infiltrate our 10th military base disguised as a commander for the Infiltrator trophy.
Maybe I need bump that.
Shortly after regaining our powers, we head back to Dana to discuss what Dr. Ragland had told us about the virus, but before we get a chance to do so, a new kind of hunter breaks through the wall and makes off with our system. We try to pursue the hunter to stop him, however, he is far too powerful and fast for us to catch, and manages to escape.
It's been what, a year and a half since...
No!
How have you been?
Raglan then tells us that he believes this hunter has taken on the role of a leader, and with the help of Raglan we discover that all the infected is a big hive mind, and that consuming one of these leader hunters may help us locate the special hive. We eventually manage to trap and consume one of them, giving us enhanced vision and allowing us to distinguish infected carriers from individuals from the uninfected ones. Using this, the military's highly advanced arsenal weapons, we managed to track down and break into the central hive where we find Alice and Jeffrey. We confront her of the location of our sister, and I assume you can already guess how that turned out. We end up getting into a fight and manage to inject her with the same cancer we were injected with, but her body rejects the cancer, and she then proceeds to regurgitate, spawning a new form of infected hunter. This was a Supreme Hunter, and it was also boss fight time again. This one wasn't too difficult, it took multiple tries alone, and it did pack a bit of a punch. It also had access to a couple of the abilities that we had access to, which also made it that little bit more deadly, but its attack patterns had quite a lengthy recovery rate, so that was the time I used to get the majority of damage in. During the boss fights, we like also managed to make their way in, and we actually used that to our advantage in taking the hunter down. Eventually, though, we take down the Supreme Hunter, unlocking us the Children of Black Light trophy. After taking the hunter down, we find a very unconscious Dana and take her to Dr. Ragland, who tells us that she is stable but unresponsive and suggests we continue to hunt for the cure. This leads us to the serious phone call at phone booths, where the caller goes on to tell us that 40 years ago, Blackwatch had moved into the town of Hope, Idaho, to begin Project Red Light. This project involved studying the Black Light virus on animals before eventually moving on to human subjects, which eventually resulted in the virus finding the perfect host, Elizabeth Green, which Gentech eventually started researching in order to genetically alter living things. He then goes on to tell us that we ourselves are not human and that we are actually the Black Light virus. Alex Mercer died at Penn Station and we are now its host. He suggests we infiltrate one of the Blackwatch command posts, so in order to do this, we took on the role of a pilot and proceed to provide backup and extract military squads under heavy resistance.
There we go.
Once all of the squads were extracted, we headed back to their base where we discovered troops getting debriefed about the deployment of blood tops. Turns out our boy Alex here doesn't do too well when inhaling that stuff in, forcing him to raise alert and being confronted with a soldier. These vehicles are clearly They're relentless, and they have this annoying grab where you have a short amount of time to press the corresponding button before he proceeds to destroy your ship. We eventually deal with them though, make our escape, and our mysterious contact warns us to make further recommendations of these blood dogs pose. 9 in total, and with that knowledge in hand, we proceed to make our way to each one and destroy it. Relatively easy, especially if you're like me and decided to attack, making this mission an absolute breeze. And while doing this, I actually take down my 10-5 for another trophy. After dealing with the blood tox hunters, our contact tells us that they are building up a small immunity to the blood tox, and that they have seen an increased number of infected building up underneath the sea to avoid the blood tox. Seen as Elizabeth Green would likely be underground, Alex agrees to disguise himself as a Black Watch and help them escort the blood tox pumper throughout a heavily overrun streets of Manhattan to Times Square. Once at Times Square, we begin a pretty lengthy defense section. We have to fight multiple waves of increasingly difficult enemies until the pump can fully disperse the blood tox. Eventually, though, we of course manage to complete this section, and we actually use one of the final waves of enemies to obtain the return fire trophy. Now the blood tox was dispersed, this produces Elizabeth. This time we see that she is this time now this fight was pretty difficult. The problem I had was they literally did not stop coming in. You had zero chance of getting any decent damage with them after you. Then we had Elizabeth's absolutely ridiculous set of attacks. She can hit you with her tendrils if you get too close. She has access to a massive AoE attack that deals exciting damage. She can fire a stream of rocks at you with absolute precision. And she has these crazy green acid-like balls that deal a decent amount of damage. And all of that really lengthens out this boss fight. You get barely enough time to get any decent amount of damage in as it is, as you're constantly having to duck away and grab some health. I will say one good thing though is this mission did come in handy for getting my consumed enemy count up, as during this fight we unlocked the Endless Hunger trophy for consuming a total of 200 characters to boost our health. And before long, we take down the mutated green, unlocking the OPPS trophy.
We really need to stop
Defeating her human form, which Alex proceeds to absolutely demolish, consuming her and learning everything she knew. We then notice that the military units are retreating and come to the realization that the area is about to be completely neutralized and decide to stop. Meanwhile, Red Crown Command
I extended my hand when nobody else would. I doubt
then leads the General Aldrin Captain Oz to bring Taggart back to the Princess Reagan,
would have done the same.
or it will be out of his hands. Hackers versus the towards our next mission. On our way there, we purchased the Patsy ability and supply military personnel. We basically accuse them of being infected and watch their comrades come down from our pleasure.
The old hospital. Stop by.
Doing this also unlocks its injury.
If you're both worthy.
The contact then informs us of a blood toxin. Doing so, we decide to take the form and get captured by Black Watch in order to get some alone time. We end up getting taken to the hotel where we get to confront the Opus. Now, I don't know why Alex didn't just straight up consume it, as well as the secrets out shortly after we come to place the antidote to take the boss. Alice's face was an anything to stop the infection, even going as far as to the whole of Manhattan and by crossing the domestic help. Tells us that Taggart is married to his baby and tells us that we do this by first taking out all of the heavy hunters is incapable of evacuating Taggart, which leads him to ordering his troops to set up roadblocks throughout the city, allowing him to escape by land. We head to a nearby transport base and proceed to bring it down in the hope of preventing its transport from escaping, and while doing so, unlock the repossession trophy for hijacking a total of 15 vehicles.
You want to handle this one?
Ross then asked the general about what happened to the ground, At this point, Ross then tells us, turns out that he has powers too. He's never revealed to us that Ross is actually the Supreme Hunter. You see, back at the cool hive when he escaped in Dagger, we stepped on the Supreme Hunter's causing a violent reaction allowing the Hunter to regenerate. He then killed the Captain at Red Cross headquarters and has been in disguise ever since. It is now time for our final boss fight of the story. Can't lie, with how hard the Elizabeth Green boss fight was, I expected this to be twice as difficult, but it was actually surprisingly easy. Don't get me wrong, this guy deals a lot of damage, and when he uses his Devastator attack, it can easily kill you at full health if you stand very close. Although through a good portion of the fight, we have a constant flow of black ops troops in the arena, so we don't really have to struggle for health. And as long as I kept my distance and attacked during his recovery, it didn't take too long for me before we were at his fucking face. This base was the only part that did cause me a few issues. This was because we had a time limit to finish him off, otherwise it was game over. Like I said, he can deal a decent amount of damage, and this time there's no troops around to regen health, so if you're nearly dead, you have no option but to retreat to partially regen some of your health, wasting precious time. Eventually though, and after a couple of tries, we finally kill the Supreme Hunter, completing the final mission and unlocking the 1000 Suns trophy.
4, 3, 2.
Now with Alex realising there wasn't enough time to stop the nuke from detonating, he takes the chopper and flies out to the ocean far from the city, where he drops it in the water, hoping it's enough to prevent Manhattan from being completely annihilated. As we fly away from the bomb, it detonates, causing a nuclear explosion, catching Alex in the process. Don't worry though, this isn't his end. He ends up as a bloody lump of biomass on the shore of Manhattan and pulls the ultimate Uno reverse card on a crow and consumes him to start regenerating.
I looked for the truth. Found it. Didn't like it. Wish the hell I could forget it.